Today's topic, lesson plans. How exciting. When a child needs to learn something, we want them to do just that. We want them to learn. We want them to understand. We want them to know. Now, when you write up a lesson plans, these are not the words to use because they're too global. How does a child learn something? How does a child understand the top 5 reasons Civil War started? How does a children know their ABCs? They will have to demonstrate to you. They have to tell you. They have to create something. They have to show. Notice our verbs now are becoming measurable, and that's what a good objective is going to do. One of the most important aspects to a lesson plan is your objective. It must be measurable. In other words, at the end of the lesson, you come back and you say, did the child learn this, or did the child indeed not get it? We are never, no matter how good we are, going to get all the children to do everything we want them to do. So our goal is 80%. 80% of the time, we want the kids to be able to grasp what detailed measure we have for them to grasp. So your sentence will look something like, the children, I apologize if this is hard to read, the children will place the ABCs in order. This is one of about a bajillion verbs that would work there. It just has to be measurable. Can you look back and see if they did place them? We could also use the word order. It comes down to the verb. That is the most important word that you're going to be focusing on the objectives, because that determines if it is measurable. Usually you'll have more than one objective, but for this purpose we want to just focus on at least one. So let's just focus on the one. The children will order the ABCs in order. That is your objective, and that is what tells you specifically if the child grasped it or not. The other part that I think is very important in lessons and often is ignored is, what do you do to get their attention? Kids expect us to raise voices, to tell us over and over the same things, come on over, even if they say, oh, I have something very special for you today. If we use that over and over, it's not special anymore. And so they become numb to it. So I think a better way to do that is something that ties back into the objective but is exciting. So if I wanted them to order the ABCs, I might have a bag with ABCs in it, and I shake it up and I said, I wonder what's in my bag. I want you to know what it is, and then, oh, I like the way Susie is sitting there nicely. I'm going to let her go first. I'm going to constantly be looking at the positive behaviors from the children, because they are pleasers, and I think far too often we focus on the negative. We wait till they get in trouble before we say something. I want to focus on the Susies and Johnnies out there who are doing what they are behaving in a way that we appreciate, like sitting with their hands in their lap or looking at us, and really ready to focus on the lesson. So we want to point those out. But your attention getters, I'm going to also call openings. And it's kind of like romancing the kids over to do what you want them to do. They're very curious beings, but we want them to learn sometimes what we have in mind for them. And so it might be a feely bag, as I mentioned. If you're doing a lesson on fruits or vegetables, it could be pretend fruits and vegetables, or even better, the real ones, and they reach in and grasp. If you're doing a lesson on spiders, it could be those little spider rings. It's endless what you can do for attention getting. It's a lot of fun too. Puppets are brilliant, and a lot of young kids will always like puppets, but you'll be surprised up to like 2nd, 3rd grade, they really will get into that also. Songs and finger plays. Listen, my voice is fabulous in front of 5-year-olds. They love to hear a teacher's voice. So don't forget to use your voice. It humanizes you, it softens you, and it makes them really intrigued and want to do what you are going to want them to do more. And books also make wonderful attention getters. Just make sure that whatever you do choose for the attention getter or the opening, that it ties back into the objective. Very, very, very important we keep doing that. The other part of the lesson that is often ignored is one I must address now. It's called the transitions. And that is how you get from one place to another. In our regular day, we spend 1/3 of our time brushing our teeth in preparation to leave or going on a date or whatever we're going to do. We're in transitions a lot. We do that in a school day also. There's transitions constantly. Discipline problems are the most frequently arise at this time, and that is due to the fact that we don't pay heedance to them. We just tell them, okay, come on over here, prepare for this. We don't give them something to think about or engage with. So it's wasted time, and it also is wide open for boredom, or I'm kind of don't have anything to do with my hands, so I'm going to bother this person over here. And so we want to minimize the discipline issues and also not waste that third of our day. That's a big chunk of the day, by having them think on something. So if it's the ABCs and they're in centers, they're in their small groups playing, they've cleaned up. Now you want them to transition over, keep it in line with your objectives. So maybe they could be singing the ABCs. They could be looking for the letter that starts with their name as they come over. There's many right things. You could even, if they're a little bit older, you could say 2 letters and have them say the letter that comes after it, A, B, and the child would say C. And you would want to always set the child up for success on any part of your lesson you're doing. So having the alphabet strip available for those who would like it is always an important thing. Any kind of visual. We always want to do hands-on. We want to do things that you can see, hear, and use movement with all at the same time. And if there's touch involved, they can actually touch the letter also. That's even better. So transitions, and there will be another video just on transition. They're such a big deal. Part of the lessons that I've seen that are amazing are your procedures, and that is just your step-by-step instruction. First, the child will do this, then this, then this. So first, the child will place the letters in order, and next, the child will write them on a board. Thirdly, they'll write them on paper, or you're going to have cut-out letters, and they're going to create a collage. And then finally, the last part after the procedure is your closure. And closure is a way to see, did the child in fact learn what you wanted them to do? And usually it involves questions, because that's how pushes the child from being a passive learner to an active learner. You cannot help but learn if questions are being thrown at you. And if they're not getting it from your broader questions, keep breaking them down until it makes sense to them. Like if you say, what letter comes after B, and they're looking confused, you can go over and point to B, and then you can say, I'm going to put these letters in order, and then you can even touch to the letter, but keep setting them up for success. But it'll be questions, and you always want to write out those questions and be as specific as you can on your questions. But another one might be an activity. They might draw something. Activity. So see, there's skills to writing a lesson plans, but there's art in it, there's flexibility in it, and there's a chance for you to bring in your own personhood and your own style. The element of fun should always exist in learning. And remember that transitions, when they move from their desk to the table or over to the floor for story time, have them crawl like a spider if you're doing a lesson on spiders, or do Itsy Bitsy Spider. Have them be singing a song. Have them name something. Have them pretend to be eating their favorite fruit if your lesson's going to be on healthy foods. It doesn't have to be fancy. It just has to be engaging for the child and something for them to think on or act on. And just remember, the element of fun is there. So remember transitions. Remember the opening, that attention getter, what's going to romance them over to kind of be enticed to do your lesson. And then you want to also remember that objective, probably the most important part to your lesson, because that's naming what it is you're wanting the kids to do. So I hope this helps. There's going to be more. And thank you, and thanks for caring about children.